For more than a decade, teams across the league would spend sleepless nights trying to plan for him. Broadcasters scrambled to find new words for his antics, and opposing superstars eventually just surrendered to the fact there was nothing ordinary or predictable about the man known as the Worm. It was more than his painted hair, tattoo sleeves, or the larger-than-life off-court persona. It was the way he turned rebounding and defending, two jobs no one wanted, into the most dangerous weapons the game had ever seen. Most NBA legends are defined by how many points they score or titles they win. Rodman, he made his mark with the moments you never saw on the highlight reel, knocking giants off their axis, diving beyond the sidelines, sacrificing his body for balls nobody else even bothered to chase. If you want to understand why Dennis Rodman was the NBA's most dangerous defender, you have to look deeper, past the bravado and wild nights, to the mind beneath the madness. Let's start with what made him physically unique. Kevin Garnett, one of the best defenders of his own era, doesn't hesitate when asked if Rodman would dominate today's NBA. He goes straight for what set Dennis apart, his insane agility, coupled with a relentless hunger for contact. At 6'9", Rodman could do things with his body that big men just aren't built to do. He'd move his feet with guards, switch onto almost any position, and stay right in front of the quickest scorers. If you wanted to keep him off the boards, you had to meet his level of physicality or get out of the way. Most couldn't do either. There's a story about Rodman pulling down 49 rebounds in a game, numbers so astronomical they almost sound made up. But it happened because Rodman simply outworked and outthought everyone on the court. But here's where the legend starts to separate from the rest: the genius. Isaiah Thomas, Hall of Fame point guard and one of Rodman's earliest NBA teammates, remembers him as a straight-up basketball genius. In the 80s and 90s, nobody paid big money for defense or rebounding. If you weren't scoring, you weren't likely to find yourself on magazine covers or making all-star appearances. But Rodman, he flipped the script. He made the league and fans care about the ugly work, the blue-collar hustle no one wanted to be responsible for. He did it so well, in fact, that he turned rebounding and defense into almost glamorous acts. And he got paid. Big, just for doing what nobody else wanted to do. It wasn't just effort either. Rodman treated rebounding like a science experiment. In warm-ups, while everyone else practiced layups and jumpers, he'd stand off to the side, watching every shooter, studying every wrist flick, memorizing how the ball spun for each player. If someone released the ball with backspin, Rodman already knew where the miss would end up, short or long, left or right. He'd whisper small notes to himself. This guy spins it 3 times, that guy with 2. Every shot, every player, Rodman mapped it out like a chess master predicting moves 8 turns in advance. So when the game started and a rebound came flying off the rim, it just looked like luck to casual fans. In reality, Rodman had already calculated exactly where the ball would bounce. He never seemed to get boxed out, never got caught late. And if it was a battle for position, he'd use every trick in the book. His hips, his arms, sheer determination, sometimes even his head, both figuratively and literally. He once dove headfirst into a row of photographers, just to wrestle a loose ball away from players twice his size. For the stars that went up against him, Rodman quickly became a puzzle that couldn't be solved. Dirk Nowitzki, the German superstar who idolized the Bulls during his teenage years, got to experience the Rodman dilemma up close when the Mavericks signed Dennis late in his career. By then, Rodman's methods went from quirky to downright legendary. Dirk and his teammates would finish suiting up for meetings, ready to hear the final instructions and defensive assignments. Right when the coaches started talking, Rodman would stand up and just walk off to take a shower. Film sessions, huddles, game plans, they barely crossed his mind. He'd miss all the X's and O's, do his own thing, and somehow still go out there and leave his mark. After games,